Are you traveling to Europe? Have you heard a lot of rumors about the hotels and now you're not sure what's true or what you should expect? Bottom line, if you want an American experience, you need to book a hotel in America. If you are ready to discover another culture, experience another way of life, and enjoy an abundant history, then you might be ready for the adventure of booking European hotels. And this video will help you know what you're getting into. Stick around till the very end and find out how we book hotels and what we look for. It sounds silly, but I get the biggest thrill out of opening a door to any hotel. I want to see the decor, the layout, and I cannot wait to jump on the bed and see if it's comfy. The first thing you're going to notice is that room sizes are different. Hotels are decades, even centuries old. Some have been converted from prisons, castles, homes, military or government buildings. The possibilities are really endless over there. They can be any combination of quirky, charming, romantic, modern, and you will find that most have one thing in common. They're small, especially in large cities. You likely won't have room to squeeze in extra people, so book for the exact number of people that you're bringing. If you want more space, you'll need to specifically ask if they have luxury rooms and be prepared to pay for that extra space. And by the way, they're probably still going to be smaller than you think.
Okay, this is our room. That's it. Here's our bed. And oh, look, we have a bathroom. Sweet. We have a tiny little bathroom. Is it smaller than the lift? Just when we thought it could not get any fancier, Jeff pushed a button and this happened. We are so fancy tonight. Enormous bathroom with a lovely, lovely tub. A nice big sink. And a separate toilet. I love whoever built this place. Lovely chairs. Nice, bright, cheery room.
Beds are an adventure. Double beds do not mean what you think. Generally, they're talking about 1 or 2 twin beds. On occasion, you might get lucky and find a full or a queen, but most often, the twins are just pushed together. And if you're looking for a king bed, good luck. A couple fun things about beds there. Be prepared that you're going to fall apart in the middle of the night.
A fun surprise. It's probably 2 beds, but they have the thing in between us. They won't come apart tonight.
And you need to know that the blankets are only half sized, which means that each one of you gets a half of a blanket. Fabulous for not sharing. If you're used to cuddling, it might be a little more difficult. Be prepared for different outlets. Outlets in Europe are not American 220-volt outlets. You're going to need a converter. You can see our link below for the ones that we use. We've been using them for years and they work great. One thing you want to make sure you do is you have enough adapters and the correct kind for all the devices that you bring. There's nothing worse than getting there and not being able to charge your phone and take pictures or get your maps or whatever it is that you need to do while you're there.
In a lot of European countries, you have to have the card to put in to make the lights work. If you don't put the cards in, the lights will work. But if you take the card out, the lights go off. So you use your card for your room, or you can use like a grocery card or something like that you don't really care about if you forget about. Just something to think about as well.
Let's talk about the elevators and stairs. Elevators are tiny. They were not built for luxury, and they're not room to be renovated and made bigger. In fact, some of them won't even have it. And if they do, you're lucky if you can get one person in there with their bags. If you can get 2 and your bags, you're going to be squished. But don't worry, you can always take the stairs. Most likely you're going to wind up using a lot of stairs in Europe. If you can't handle tight spaces or you can't do stairs, you need to ask for a first floor room. And you need to make sure that it means that there's no elevators, because we've learned that this ground level does not mean it's the level you walk into. It is really important, if you cannot do stairs, you need to know that there are not always elevators available in European hotels, and some do not have room on the ground floor. So be sure to check with them when you're booking if stairs are hard. We stayed in the most beautiful, fabulous room in Brussels, and it was the romantic suite. Every person that we talked to made a point to let us know that this was a coveted room. Even though it was a fancy room, there were no elevators in this hotel, so the only thing they could offer was to help us carry our bags up and down the stairs, which was much appreciated because there were a lot of them. Speaking of stairs, they can be steep, windy, or uneven, so watch your step and be careful when you're lugging things up and down. On the flip side, they are beautiful and they're twisty, which makes them really fun to run up and down. If the rooms are tiny, the bathrooms, while luxurious, are minuscule. If one of you is wanting to brush your teeth and the other is using the mirror, you may want to flip a euro to see who gets to go first. Okay, this is how the showers are here. Notice where it's at on the drain. The floors are all open, so the water just goes wherever, and they collapse so that it makes room, because notice how close everything is. And then, when you're ready to shower, you pull them out, and they touch each other, and then you can shower. And that's how they work. But then you close them so you have room to go to the bathroom and use the mirror. Water pressure is lower than in America, often eco-friendly, so hot water may not last as long. You'll find a difference in European knobs and the water temperature. The European standard is left hot and right cold. They may have a red for hot and a blue for cold, or letters. For example, in Spain, you'll see that C is hot for caliente and F is cold for frio. You may also want to play with your knobs before you get in because they're a little bit different. Okay, in order to turn the heat up, you have to push this lovely button here. It's like the idiot button, so it's set at a relatively nice temperature. It's a little cold for me, so you push that button and then continue to turn whichever way makes it hotter. And just be warned that once you pass the button, it goes from mildly warm to scalding within seconds. So that's like their regulator idiot button. That's how you do it. It works the same on these kind, same idea. Push the button and then you can turn it, hold it down, and turn it however hot you want it. Once you see it, it's not too hard to figure out, but you may want to experiment a little before getting undressed and getting in the shower in case you have to call the concierge. Oh, and before you get in, check how many towels you have. Many are eco-friendly and they don't include as many towels as you're used to in America. Now, if you ask, they're happy to oblige. And on that note, if you're one that needs fresh towels every day, pay attention to the signs in the hotel room. It will tell you where to place them if you want new ones, or where to put them if you want to reuse them. You also may not get a washcloth, so if that is something that is really important to you, you might want to bring one or get some disposable facial cleansers. Now, just so you don't think that the bathrooms are all bad, you need to know there's some awesome perks here. They have heated towel racks, but there's a little knob or a switch that you can turn that on, hang your towels over it, and then in the morning they're dry and heated. It's lovely. Many offer bidets, so if you've never used one and want to, you can check out your hotel room to see if they have them. Some do offer shampoos, soaps, conditioners, lotions. If they do, they're going to be high quality and they smell wonderful. Some do not. So again, you might want to be prepared. And the biggest perk is that there's so much to see in Europe that you're really not going to spend a lot of time in your hotel room, and you'll be so tired by the time you get back, you won't even notice the size. Another quirky thing about European hotel rooms is that heating and air conditioning are not a given, especially not air conditioning. If you can't survive without it, you really need to pay close attention to the listing, and you might want to give them a call to confirm that it's working. Heat is often radiator heat, so you may need a quick lesson on how to use it. It will keep you warm and cozy, but it may feel a little dry. It'll take them about 2 seconds to show you, so don't be shy about asking them how to work the heat and or air conditioning in a building. Breakfast could be an adventure. Just because they serve breakfast does not mean it includes the price of your stay. So make sure to ask and clarify this before you book if it's important for you to have breakfast. We tend to skip hotel breakfast because there are a lot of local boulangeries or bakeries. It saves us time and money, and we don't miss out on a drool-worthy breakfast. If they do offer a buffet breakfast, it is not the same as our continental breakfast that we have in America. In fact, in Europe, you're going to find more fruits, more vegetables, meats, cheeses, different types of breads, croissants, tons of baked goods, Fresh jams, jellies, yogurts, coffee. Sometimes they have juice and hot chocolate, even eggs. It may not be what you think of a typical breakfast, but it is delicious. For my tall friends, low ceilings are very common. If you're over 5 feet tall, watch your head literally everywhere in Europe. We're not just talking hotels, literally everywhere. The buildings were made small. They weren't built for luxury like we've talked about. So just be aware and watch your head. Sometimes they have signs. Sometimes you use your head first. If smoking or non-smoking is important to you, you need to know that while it may be a non-smoking area, smoking is very common in Europe, and you may walk through a cloud of smoke just getting into the hotel doorway. That's just part of the adventure. Pets. If you're planning on bringing your favorite furry friend with you, you'll find that most hotels are pet friendly. They might charge for a pet cleaning fee. That's a pretty standard practice. If your fur baby isn't well behaved, you might want to leave them home for this trip, as you will definitely hear about the complaints. There's almost always a hotel safe in the room, so feel free to leave extra credit cards and extra treasures there. We've never had a problem with them. We use them all the time. You might be wondering, okay, so there's all these things that I need to ask about. How do you choose a hotel? One of the places that we like to look is hotels.com. They do have some perks. Every so many hotel nights, you earn a free hotel room, which is valuable to us. And there's no fee for using them, which we also really like. When we book a hotel, we look for free cancellation because you just never know, and not all of them offer that. We try to see if they have a toll-free number that we can call them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they want you to text or email, and sometimes they use an app called WhatsApp. I like to pay ahead of time because it takes care of any issues with what form of payment they accept. I've heard of people getting there and not being able to pay because they don't accept their credit card or there's a higher fee. We pay ahead of time and we've never had that problem. Now, we have found that hotels are usually better priced than the VRBOs. Usually it's that cleaning cost that's tacked onto them. However, it is worth checking into, especially if you're staying outside of the city. And if you're adventurous, you can always try a hostel. The most important things for choosing where to stay. You want to consider a central location for all of the places that you're planning to visit. We always try to stay close to a metro. It may sound silly, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you don't want to walk very far when you get back. Often we try and stay outside of a busy town, just outside. So we're not talking like it's going to be impossible to get to and from. We want to be able to ride the metro. Pick somewhere just a little farther out. Prices are usually better. It's often a little bit less crowded, and you get to experience more of the local vibe. So it's fantastic. I cannot stress this one enough. Read the reviews. Reviews are there for a reason, and people are pretty honest. So I always read what the most negative thing was and then look at when it was and then read the positives as well. Because if they have a problem, there's a possibility I might as well. And I want to know what happened at each place, and then I make that decision. One of the things that we really like to check on when we're contacting a hotel is if they have late checkout or if they have bag storage. We often want to store our bag before we check in, or we need to store our bag after we check out before we head to the airport or wherever we're going next. We choose not to leave any of our real valuable things like our credit cards, our travel documents, our passport, because it is a shared space that they're storing things in. We've never had anything taken, but we're not really willing to take that risk. So we tend to carry a little backpack with us if we have to leave our bags before checking in or after checking out. One question we get a lot is, how far out do you book hotels? Well, we book them when we book the flight. So it's about 2 months out. Hotels do fill up. So if you're going during a high travel season, which we don't recommend, but if that's what you need to do, then that's what you do. Staying in a really trendy place, it's going to fill up faster. So just book out as early as you can. Again, look for that free cancellation. If you have to change it or you find a better place, then you're covered. That's it. Now you know everything you need to know about staying in a hotel in Europe. They're fabulous, so I can't wait to hear your comments about which ones you loved and have fun on your next adventure. If you're looking for more travel tips, watch this one next.